Are you an architect or an interior designer looking for a faster, more efficient way to create stunning renders? Look no further than Midjourney AI. In this video, I will be using version 5 of Midjourney. With the power of machine learning, Midjourney AI can help bring your designs to life in a fraction of the time that it would take with the traditional methods. In this video, I'll show you how to use Midjourney to create stunning interior and exterior renders that'll amaze not only your friends but your clients as well, and save so much time. But first, let's talk about what Midjourney is. It's a powerful machine learning tool that can help you create really quick images and renderings based off prompts that you type in. One of the great things is it's incredibly easy to use. You can simply upload images or prompts and it'll quickly generate very high quality images in under 60 seconds. So let's get through this. So how this video is going to go is I'm going to be talking about an exterior and an interior view. I'm going to start with a basic render generated from a prompt using the Midjourney prompt generator in ChatGPT. And then the next step will be importing a reference photo into Midjourney and using that to generate high quality renders. And then from there, we'll use a reference photo and a screenshot of a 3D model. So then we can use this to, in effect, help us with our visualization of an actual model instead of just a hypothetical situation. And then finally, for each one, we'll use a prompt and then some sort of wacky geometry to mimic to see how far we can push this. So let's get started. So this prompt I just got from ChatGPT. That's not the right prompt, but it's really nice to find different plugins and test out different things. So by using ChatGPT, you can get quick and very good prompts that can help you just try out different things, because sometimes it's hard to find the right words to use when doing a Midjourney prompt. So here we go. Now it might take a couple seconds, but as you can see, the prompt is very detailed, and hopefully, as you see in these previous images, it's done a very good job of creating great lighting, great materials, and just overall the image quality has been very good. I'm intending to kind of use this for just getting ideas for a project. Midjourney is great because it has a large collection of images, and now in version 5, it's very realistic, and the images it's producing are so much better and so far beyond the other softwares, and so that's why it's totally worth it to use. And if you run out of credits using the free trial, I highly recommend actually paying for it, because it's just that much better than any other technology, free or paid. So let's check out these images that it generated. And I didn't even tell it to do any interior images, but it basically gave me 2 exterior perspectives and then 2 interior perspectives. You can just see the trees and the detail in the trees, the landscape, the lighting. I could point out any single piece of this building and kind of talk about how realistic it is. And in previous versions of Midjourney, it wasn't as easy to kind of understand the different images and how they were, the compositions of those images weren't quite how they should have been. So that's just another perk of doing this. So I'm going to type in this prompt again while I go find the reference image that I want to use. And so if you're looking to use reference images, you just have to download them onto your computer and then drop them into Midjourney. And then from there, you'll just submit that as an image. You'll click on it, right click, the bottom left corner, you'll do open in browser. You'll copy that, exit out, go back here, paste it, and then that's the URL that you can use. So what we're going to do on this next prompt is use the previous prompt that we're using, but then add this image tag in it first. So right there we have the link to the image, and then we'll combine that with this version 5 Midjourney prompt. And so it's already creating very nice renders, but this will take it a step above. Okay, so I'm gonna just modify it a little bit because it's not a house, it's more of like a building. I'm gonna get rid of this comment about interior furnishing because this is an exterior render, and so sometimes using AI to do things for you, you don't always get exactly what you want, but it can help speed up the process. And so let's submit that, and while we wait for that, let's check out these other renders that it gave us. So 3 more interior renders. I mean, this is a very cool style. The prompt is kind of formulating a specific style that it's outputting here in these 4 Midjourney prompts. What do you guys think? These are pretty sweet. I'm really liking the style that it's producing. It's kind of like a modern, not a lot of concrete, a lot of light and dark contrasting materials. Something that can be seen in very high quality homes. It almost looks like a safari in the outside landscape, but I'm very impressed so far. This is one of the first times I've been using version 5, and so I haven't really got a chance to experience all the new benefits. I've been using a lot of free trials up until now, so very cool, and I'm really liking what Midjourney is producing. You can start to see out of these 4 images the massing appear, and also how the similarities in lighting and form are starting to arise. So let's go back to this precedent image. As you see here, it's kind of a simple form, you could say, with very linear window compositions. Now the foreground with the landscape and the water and the other elements might be a little bit confusing for Midjourney to understand, but in all 3 it included water features in the frontscape, and also a walkway between the building and the water. So very interesting how it's kind of articulating this. I'm just blown away by the quality of these renders, honestly. It's super cool what it's able to do. Now let's go back, and this time I'm going to I'll have to take a step back and undo the imagine. But now I'm going to import a 3D model, just a little mock-up of a 3D model, and see how using the same prompt can kind of articulate materials and lighting onto this. Because right now it's just a plain model, white with some black lines to kind of give some hierarchy. But when you take a screenshot of your Revit or your Rhino model, it's pretty basic. And so this could be a great way for you to be able to start and mess with how you can visualize your massing without having to go into one of those rendering softwares like Lumion and Twinmotion and spending hours like trying to just put materials and lighting at the most basic level to get like some sort of visualization of what you want. Now there's tools using AI like Varus AI and Arco AI that are plugins to Revit, Rhino, and SketchUp, and I did a couple videos about that on my channel if you want to check it out. But basically it's like Midjourney but connected to your 3D model. Obviously the quality isn't as good as what Midjourney's been able to produce so far, but I think they're developing as well. But Midjourney, now that you're able to import images, and you have been for a little bit, but the quality is starting to be more realistic and more tailored to that style. As this continues to develop, you should be able to import screenshots of your 3D model, like the views that you want, and capturing those and rendering them in high quality without ever having to use or spend a lot of time using real-time rendering softwares, which is just crazy to think because they're starting to develop very realistic and high quality styles. But again, it just takes too much time. And when AI can do it in minutes, it's a huge advantage to Midjourney and all the other AI technologies. Okay, so this is what we got so far. It's a start, I would say. As you can see, it's still lacking a little bit of material. You can start seeing a little bit of definition and maybe some flooring, some bushes and some trees starting to appear. I think what I'm going to do is upscale one of these. So I'm really liking how the bottom right is starting to kind of be composed. And so what I'm going to do is upscale that image and then kind of regenerate that prompt. And so it might take a couple iterations to start advancing from that beginning stage of this, let's say 3D model, 3D sketch. But I think it's definitely a lot faster process and just really easy to do. Not too complicated, etc. So we'll do the same process and get that link and then go back and just regenerate an image. And it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Let's see. I might even add some more advancement in like what materials. So right now it's not getting super specific on materials. So what I'm going to do is kind of talk about using some wood panels for the like ceiling, for the outdoor ceiling. And then what are you thinking? Probably reflective glass walls, just to kind of give characteristics to those forms starting to develop. And then again, probably some concrete, maybe concrete, what kind of concrete? With light concrete. We'll do like light poured concrete and see how that starts to develop. One more thing, I want to kind of add some stone tiling, like floor for the patio, just to give some distinction to the foreground, I would say. Trees and then bushes, so that we can start to develop some vegetation as well. One third thing the AI is really struggled with is people, and rightfully so, but I'll put people in there, not super specific, but I think that'll be a good start for us so far. And hopefully, I don't know if I think I did imagine on that. Yeah, it's just waiting to start. Okay. And so with Midjourney, what you're able to do is you can create different versions of a specific image as well as upscaling it. I haven't gone through this quite yet, but by making different versions, it essentially uses the prompt that you just did to generate all these images, how it gave you 4 images, and then you choose which one you like or multiple that you like, and you can create 4 more versions of that. But if you want a higher quality image like we did right here, you'll just upscale it and it'll give you a larger, more detailed image of that specific output. And Midjourney is really nice because it makes it easy to just get quick ideas out there. But then if you want to start generating them in a higher quality manner, then you're able to do that. Yeah, so now materials are definitely starting to develop. I'm liking how this top right one is coming about. Those other ones aren't as much of like a house style. I think what am I going to do? I'm just going to redo this prompt. Even though I did like kind of how it was starting out, I think I might change this back to modern home, and then kind of like a beach style, because I can imagine this home being on a beach, but you can't be on the beach without having palm trees, so we got to add that in there. And just got to be creative and just mess with different things, because sometimes it just needs a little push, whether in creativity or being specific. So that's just a tip when doing Midjourney. Just depending on your goal and your outcomes, you need to be more specific with your prompt, because it doesn't always know. It can't read your mind. As much as you think AI is evolving and is smart, it can't read your mind. So you have to guide it and prompt it in the right direction. Now after this, I'm gonna kind of put in some complex geometry just to see how it messes with that. So I want to use, just kind of this wacky form. It's not too wild, but like more of a triangular shape, and combine that with whatever I start to generate, whichever one of these four I like the best out of this current output. And we'll kind of mesh those together, because this is a pretty basic geometry form that I'm generating currently. Wow, I'm really liking how this is turning out. I mean, this is crazy. What do you guys think? Which one should I choose for those of you on the live stream that are active? Honestly, they're all great choices. I don't know. This is a tough decision. I'm gonna go with probably the bottom right, just because I think I see some. I don't know. This is hard. I'm gonna go with I'll go with the bottom left, and so I'll just upscale that version number 3 first. And then I'll just go fetch this URL so that it'll be ready to go by the time we get that. Okay. Yeah, now it upscaled it a little bit. I was hoping for a little better sky, a little foggy, but we can work with that for sure. Okay, we'll put that image in there. We'll take the same prompt, version 5. And one thing I guess I didn't mention is you can add multiple images. And I was kind of implying at that by combining these two together. But yeah, you just put in one new URL, and then you put in another one, and that way it'll use both of those to input. And so if you want to do like 2 precedent images instead of like 2 contrasting ones, that can also help feed the algorithm and other things. Or if you liked kind of the characteristics of all 4 of these images, you could individually upscale them, or just use like the overall composition as a reference image. And so you could like place all 4 of them into one, and then it would generate from there. I mean, it's a pretty cool way of life. And I consider myself a high roller being able to use Midjourney, even though it's free. I mean, it's so cool how it's doing it. And you can kind of start to see a hint at how the geometry is meshing. You can see some elements of this top building where there's diagonals compared to the contrast of like the more orthogonal straight forms, the boxing rectangle extrusions. Okay, so it's about done. Let's see. I'm excited to see. It kind of looks like a ladder taking you up, but just this is so cool how it can do that, combine 2 different images together and just generate something brand new straight from scratch. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So the next step is to begin doing interior renders. I was excited with how the exterior renders turned out. At the beginning of the video, you did see the exterior prompt generate some interior renders. So both outputs are going to be very good, very realistic, very to the point of what you want. But now we're just focusing on interior renders and kind of tailoring our ideas to that style. And so again, I just got this prompt that I'm using by typing in Midjourney prompt generator in ChatGPT or ChatGPT. Yeah, quite a tongue twister. Anyway, I did that and it generated several prompts for me to use, and that's kind of what's inspired me to get this video. And I've tailored them a little bit throughout just to kind of get the right feel that I want. But for the most part, I've been using just AI to generate more AI images. As funny as it sounds, it's the world we live in for sure. And so these are kind of more older style renders, you could say. It looks kind of like the 1900s style, I don't know. But it's really cool how it's able to generate not only like a modern style, but any version or any kind of architecture, interior design. It knows everything. I mean, they've tested millions, billions of images and spent so much money to get this far. And with all that, the hard work's paid off, because these images are just spectacular. Like, they basically look like real photos. They look more like a render for sure, because that's what we're going for. But I mean, they're very realistic. The shadows, the lighting, it's not too much. It's perfect. And even the material mapping on all the objects, the orientations of the space. I mean, the way the couches are laid out in composition with the windows. I don't know how it knows this. And it just continues to learn using the machine learning. So it's constantly getting better. But I mean, it's just amazing how it's able to do that. And so I'm going to try another prompt, but in the meantime, I'm going to upload this image that I want to use and kind of use the next prompt to generate. So I'll get that ready. Let's see here. Okay, we'll go back. I'm honestly just gonna kind of tailor this last prompt into more of like an interior space, because they can be basically used interchangeably, you could say. Let's see, interior, yep, furnishings, etc. Yeah, let's go there, and then we need to, whoops, right here, copy this in there so we get that. And then we get the best of both worlds. We'll get a prompt and then make this image into a very realistic space. So it kind of looks like a dining setup. All these images I just got from Google to make it easy, and just kind of find some unique designs. But this looks kind of like a kitchen space meshed with a dining room or something like that. Very interesting. But who knows what it's going to turn out to be. It might keep kind of the same style, same room type, or based on this prompt, it's going to change it up a little bit. And even as we wait for this, I'm going to start preparing the prompt next time for the next one, and even be more specific. So we're kind of talking about kitchen and dining space. It's hard to like type and multitask at once. Okay. Wow. It changed it around a little bit, but actually not a little bit, a lot. You look here, it definitely changed it a lot, but like it understood the spatial elements inside of it. And now my goal of importing like a 3D model image was to make that turn into a render without having all these changes and stuff. And what you can do in like Stable Diffusion and some other different tools is you can import sketches, import images, and I've actually done some videos on that on my channel, some live streams and some actual videos if you want to check those out. But what it does is you can adjust the strength that you want your imported image to have. And so that's something Midjourney might be lacking at this moment, is having some sliders to kind of adjust the creativity and the strength of certain things but that's just for future reference. Right now, it's still amazing where it's at. I think I want some marble to be added. This is somewhat of a modern style, so I'm getting some marble like countertops and like wood flooring, stone backsplash. Because right now it's just taking the white from the 3D model, as well as it's a sleek and modern interior with a minimalist design, so that does inhibit that kind of space. But by adding some more material characteristics, that should give us probably something more interesting to look at than just white with some lighting. But it does add different elements for the chairs, and it's just amazing how it comes from this image, which isn't that cool, if I'm being honest. It's all right, and then just makes something so badass. Like, this is so cool. I love those spaces, and I didn't even do much to get there. Okay, so this is what it gave us. Again, just amazing spaces. Definitely some more coloration and detail. I'm liking how these are turning out. A lot better. And okay, so let's see. I'm gonna add. This is kind of gonna contrast what we had, but like the prompt that we have, this is a little bit different. So I think what I'm gonna do, we haven't tested this out so far, is I'm gonna use three images. So I'm gonna use this main basic image just to give us like a starting point, as we wanted to kind of base it off like a 3D model. But then I want to get this kind of style in there. So we'll import that. So for now, we'll start with 2 images. And then probably the V5 because we want version 5. Okay, we got that wrong. We'll try that again. So we got the first image, the second image. No, it's the 2 dashes, that's why. And now it should work. Oh my goodness. So close. Sorry for the delay, folks. We are just having nothing too technical, but there we go. Okay, now it's gonna start meshing between these two. And I'm very interested to see which form it starts to mold closest to. Or does it just completely mesh them together? I'm not sure, and I don't think I went through. Okay, there we go. I don't think I did a prompt last time. I just entered them in. So whatever this kind of comes up with, I'm gonna take my favorite image out of all those, and then do like 3 images at once. And so it'll combine all the features of those together. Just kind of reiterating the algorithm and the learning of Midjourney. And so one way to just keep getting better renders is just using the image import to regenerate those images and keep coming back and back. You can upscale them, then re-import them, etc. Something like that. Well, this is quite different than what I was expecting. It started getting a face from somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so maybe if we include a prompt, that'll be a lot more helpful for us. I don't know, because that was weird. And sometimes that does happen. So I'm not like totally surprised that AI got it wrong or something like that, but wooden material, colorful like furniture, interior lighting, because it's an interior space. It's like interior design. I don't know. And that'll be kind of like the starting point for us for now, just to see where it gets. I mean, I'm just so impressed with how it turned out, how all this is going. I look forward to just continuing to mess with it and use it further, because it's been pretty eye-opening to see what AI can do. And then once you're happy with whatever you have, you can just upscale it, and then kind of how I was opening it in the browser by right-clicking, you can just save it to your desktop and then use it from there. So, I mean, it's very, very helpful. You can use these to show for class, show in meetings and stuff like that when you're just coming up with initial ideas. So by combining both of those images, giving me something that's like neither of them. I think they're so contrasted, it's just being so confusing. But what's really interesting and what I love about Midjourney is because it made a mistake. It didn't do what I was wanting it to do. And obviously it can't read my mind, so it did what it was taught to do. But this is beautiful. Like, I'm really enjoying and getting some inspiration from these images. Not only because of the color, but just the unique styles and the unique furniture provided. This is something where you can just extract ideas, even if you're not using this for like rendering, because it's not quite that advanced yet to use for like final rendering outputs and other things. But just for getting inspiration and other ideas on spaces, orientations, layouts, material palettes, stuff like that, Midjourney is a great resource. So what are you waiting for? Give Midjourney a try, and just take your architecture design to the next level. It's just a simple tool to add to your arsenal, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you found this video like informative and interesting, I make tons more like this. So hit the subscribe button and stay with us, and welcome to the